This is my sketchbook that I just finished. It took me a little while. I started it during the pandemic, late December 2020, and it took me about a year and a half. I didn't use it that often. I also do use my digital tablet to draw things when I was out and about. But this is very portable, beautiful by Moonster, actual authentic leather and handmade paper. I believe it's made by natives. Beautiful stuff. So I love this sketchbook. I get a lot of compliments on it too. And so this is what it started. So I started on the subways, right when I got it. I think it must have been a Christmas gift, December 26th. So I sketched this guy. The next guy, he moved. He noticed me and then he moved. He was just, if you're on the subway, just let yourself be sketched. It's not a big deal. It's not like I'm going to do anything nasty with it alone at home or something. So anyway, then this is Rockefeller Rink. I started using other mediums later on. This is a conceptual sketch. One thing about this paper is it doesn't take eraser very well, but it takes ink fairly well, and I think through the process, as I use brushwork, mix of pen here too, and whiteout, they turn out, some of them, pretty well. So this was a concept that I turned into a painting, and this was the preliminary. I actually took photos of myself as reference for lighting, and that's why it kind of resembles me a little bit, because I used it as a reference. This is all from imagination, no reference. That's why it's kind of like, I don't know, not as good. This is from Bryant Park. Guys playing ping pong. Another artist sketching with me in Bryant Park. Same. This is a painting concept that I haven't finished yet. Some other painting concept. So this is pen there. Other concepts, it's a sketchbook, so it's for ideas. I had some tall canvases, and that's why the concepts are like that. This is just a warm-up from my imagination. Same again, I'm just playing with the brush stroke. These are life drawing, and I joined a Zoom finally, because I was starved for life drawing. I joined a Zoom, and this is one of the strong pieces here. Using a brush and ink. This one I love. I think this is a strong piece. Some of my best pieces are rushed, because I feel like rushed, you don't get to second think your work, and they turn out real nice. Now some slower poses. Maybe this is a 5-minute one. It was a Zoom, like I mentioned, so they had some video or some still image. Yeah. Well, this is when I was using a calligraphy pen and the brush, because I had more time. Maybe this is a 10-minute. I actually did 2 really nice oil paintings in this session that were 10 minutes, and they turned out really, really well. This turned out nice. You get to see now the better ones and not so great ones, because when I post my life drawing, some of them I'm not really pleased with. So I'll only share the really good ones. And this is a nice one because I used the whiteout pen for the hairs there, and this is really nice. It's got kind of a Sin City sort of feel. Another concept. More painting concepts. All right, this is like a little group that went to Bushwick, and we drew like different things there. We were supposed to draw murals, but I like 3D objects. You know, if I'm sketching and doing studies, I want to study 3D objects. I don't want to study like, you know, flat images typically. Although I do study some artists. So this is kind of nice. Studied this old van there. Okay, there we go. This is all right. You see the eraser, it really tears at the paper. And this is, oh, there was a guy working on a skateboard here. It's interesting to draw this. Hard to get the detail. I think my pencil was getting blunt. Oh, this turned out nice. This is one of the artists sketching. And it's nice because it's like a nice illustration by itself, you know, it's like, it's nice on the page. A drink, study. Oh, this was a fun one. This is when I went to the Met and they had a Goya drawings exhibit. This is phenomenal. So I got to study Goya from the actual etchings and drawings. This is really fun. Yeah, Goya was something. There's good stuff here with the side of the pencil that I kind of like. This one's all right. Well, this is a famous one. And so is this. This is pretty famous. Probably this one too. It's kind of interesting. All right. Oh, I think the paintings were this session, but regardless. This is another online life drawing session because it was getting good to me. This is kind of all right. There's some nice ones in this series. This is all right, I kind of like. This is okay. This is a strong one, I think. You know, it just kind of, I look for standalone drawings. This is pretty good too. This is with the calligraphy pen and the brush. So it's nice wash colors there. Yeah. You know, I try to make it kind of creative. This is the cloisters, but I had to leave early. It was kind of a thing. I chipped a tooth on some bubble gum. It wasn't actually bad at all. It was just a piece I didn't really need anyway. And then I left early, but I actually just ended up going to a barbecue instead. But this, yeah, it's like, there wasn't. Okay, so this is the self-portrait, which I have a video about. And this is the second version, actually. You see June 7th, 2021. But June 6th, you see, I have the first version that I did, which I never showed. So what happened was I did this, and it looks good as a drawing, but it doesn't really look like me. And then I decided to really focus in on it. And I think this turned out really well. This one is a meetup, the artists of the Met. And we went to Prospect Park. There's one of the artists sketching, Michael. So this was good. I went straight to brush. Oh my God, this is a good one. It's one of my favorites. This turned out so good. What happened was it started raining. And you see all these smudges, and that's all from the raindrops. It just created such a wonderful atmosphere in this picture. And here it's hard to tell, but by process of elimination, I left out the silhouettes of some swans that were on the lake. So I kind of like that. And there's a twig there. That's what it's supposed to be. It's hard to tell what they're actually intended to be. But if you saw it in person, that was like a twig that was hanging out of the water because it wasn't that deep. It was kind of shallow. And I made some artistic choices. Like this was a little bit farther away, but I brought it in more so that it overlaps and creates depth. Those are things you learn. This is okay, but it's so muddy it's hard to tell what's happening. And there's so much going on in terms of depth, like foreground, middle ground, and then background. And then again, this turned out real nice. This is a good one. Again, with a duck there. But this turned out so nice. I really am happy with that. And that's supposed to be a stick sticking out of the water as well. Again, back to the Met here. But I showed up late, and I think I only got this sketch and maybe another one. I don't know what that was. This is the Met. This is a different day because I know that previous one, I only got that one drawing in, I think. So I did a digital version of this too. I was trying, like, when you see on dollar bills that cross-hatching, I was trying some of that cross-hatching on the head there. This is another meetup altogether, different group. This is the organizer for that meetup. I did a sketch. The point was to do portraits of each other. So I think it really looks like them. These turn out pretty good. Pretty good, I think. This one's like, it's good, but doesn't really, say anything. This is a strong one because it's centered and everything, and I always balance it with the signature. The hair turned out nice. It was difficult to do the fine lines with the brush, but pulled it off. This one's kind of good too. There's another meetup. This is a life drawing session. Not a very good model. Potentially the worst model I've ever had. Like physically, she was out of shape and she had some crazy rash in her thighs. It was like disgusting to look at. And I hate to be superficial, but like you need to have something to work with to make a nice drawing to begin with. And she was out of shape and had like crazy rashes everywhere and maybe track marks on like her arms or something. And also she was chatty, she was just chatty with people, like a lot of breaks, took a lot of breaks. Like every half hour she kind of was running her own breaks. And this is kind of a realistic rendition of what she was like. So I didn't like that at all. There was no good drawings in that whole session that I could use as a reference or turn into something, All right, finally some good stuff. Here now we go to the Norman Rockwell Museum in Massachusetts, Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And these are studies from paintings. I mean, when you're studying Norman Rockwell, working flat is not a big deal, like not working from a sculpture, because there's a lot to admire, because he uses he uses real life reference in all his artworks. And this turned out pretty good. An artist friend asked me if I was trying to replicate the actual brush strokes in the drawing, and yes, like the hair, I'm trying to replicate the actual painting effect, to reproduce it, but in this new medium. pencil. So yeah, I take those kind of subliminal considerations. This is another one of his famous paintings. I like this. I like the volumes, all the depths of his cheekbones, and then the shape of his nose is so voluminous, really wonderful stuff. This is a later period of his, and you could tell he was going to Caravaggio style, like a lot of darks in this one. This is some notes that I learned from that exhibit. Like, first you have to have a nice subject. Then lighting is key with strong white, in contrast. So that's kind of my key points, my key takeaways. Oh, so in that exhibit, there was also, at the Rockwall Museum, there was also a fantasy art exhibit, and I got to see, this Frank Frazetta painting. So it was cool to actually copy this from the original oil painting by Frank Frazetta. And these are some random studies, like this is like a Frazetta butt, this is a Boris arm, and another Frazetta, saber tooth or something. This is a concept painting, which I ended up doing like a more finished version. Maybe I'll do an actual painting. Okay, back to the Met, The Thinker by Rodin. This is a good one. These turn out good. It's tough with bronze, especially like dark bronze, to convey the lights and shadows and not make it look like totally dark. So this was a lighter piece, but there's good stuff here. Like, I like the shading here and here. Like, it's nice. It's fun to break down the sections of muscle. I like studying sculptures best. This is from the Cloister Museum, and they shared it on their Instagram, and that was kind of cool. This is a nice drawing, nice delicate drawing. I was really focused. Another one there. Trying some colored pencils from another artist that he lent to me. This is kind of good. I like the lines here. They're kind of good. All right, now this was a great day. So it's almost a full year after. You see, it's 120 pages, this sketchbook. So this is the National History Museum, and this was a phenomenal day. It was a fun hangout afterward too, but it was like kind of the climax of this sketchbook, I feel. Yeah, this turned out real good. Almost every piece is really good here. Again, promoting Artists of the Met, which they're on Instagram. This is a good study. Like, I'm not a fan of this drawing. I feel like the skull, whatever. It's a good drawing, but the shape, it's so incomplete, there's teeth missing and there's a skull missing. But here we go. This is a strong piece. And then I was like really connected now. Then this one. This turned out so good. I love the fading here of the hand. And then the finale, this hyena, this prehistoric hyena, leaving the eyelashes in that section just leaving that blank because it's hard to erase, right? And then all the shadows here again. I love this piece. I thought I did such a nice job on this, and it's a powerful looking piece. You know, the eye is like pretty much the center of the paper too. This is back to the Met, another day. I was trying markers instead of brush here, and a fine pen. So, oh, here, I skipped ahead a second. This turned out good. My marker was running out, but I feel like the contrast here makes it interesting. And then this, only with pen, I thought turned out so good. It's one of my best drawings in this sketchbook. I was really like connected in this section, you know, of the sketchbook. I was using the sketchbook a few weeks back to back, so everything was turned out real nice. Here, borrowing some markers from an artist friend. The exercise was to create something abstract, so I just kind of went with that, but then I went with something realistic, and I actually brought up a reference on my phone, because I don't, you know, you don't use reference. I mean, this is the best you can do. I mean, you could do better, but still, like if you don't, that's the difference. Reference, no reference, you know? Some amount of reference is better than no reference at all in most cases. And then here with the markers again, but what's interesting is I feel the back looks so much better than the original, you know, just what bled through. It's like so much more mysterious. Same with this one. I feel like this is okay, but then the back, so much more enticing. And then back to the Natural History Museum here on the right. This is good. This is fun. That horn, there's good shading on that. And I love, if you were to see it really close, you can see the what you call it, the not the grain, but the what am I trying to say? The pores of the paper. So I like that. This turned out all right. You know, like all the wrinkles, it's kind of good. The ears, pretty good, I think. This was a bit of a mess, but it's all right. This is kind of nice with, you know, the design of it, right? I like rushing things. I think usually you get nice effects. So yeah, this was a good day. Oh, I was in a mood to like draw people in the group, and this is the other Jesse, the organizer of Artists of the Met. And there's nice little textures of the hat there with whiteout. And I like this, the shading there. I love this woman, just the weight of her legs especially. I feel like I really nailed. This was a very bloody marker, and you can see it with a dead line. But geez, the weight of her is great. This is another artist from that group, Charles Basman, and he's got a YouTube channel as well. I kind of messed this up in the proportions, and I redid it, so it's a bit of a mess, but actually even with the mask it looks like him, so I feel like I got a good representation of him. These are sketches for an animated music video, studying the band. Concepts for that. Okay, back to the museum studies masks. This turned out all right. I like this one with the big veins on the face. Oh yeah, this was a good one. Yeah, this is a good one. Again, those markers, they're not as nice as the brush, but they turn out good. I really struggled with this, trying to fit it on the page. It took me quite a few tries, you see. But then the final one is all right. You know, I had to use a lot of whiteout even on this, but it turned out right. It kind of feels all dry and kind of neat. Okay, this is another drawing of somebody from the group, but we hung out afterward, and this is not as good. That's why I try to like make it artsy by wiggling around. And this is Charles again from earlier, but I feel the previous likeness is actually closer with the mask than this. And then this is a better likeness of Lulu, but it's a little caricaturish, you know? It's a little cartoony, but it's a really, really good likeness. Oh, this is another more colorful concept of that earlier sketch. And I feel like I finished pretty strong. There's 3 videos of these studies of a Rembrandt here, then a Rubens, and then finally Michelangelo. So there's videos, and I'll link them in the description. But I finished pretty strong with these. So I'm happy with this sketchbook. Turned out well. And there it is.